Hey guys, it's Jason with JWClassicVW and welcome to the 2019 Year in Review video. Stay tuned, we're going to be going over the almost 70 videos that I put out this year and it's going to be pretty cool. So stay tuned. I can't believe the year is already over and I can't believe how much work we've gotten done this year on all the different projects. So how do we start this year? How do we start this year and what did we start off with? And it really started with the 40 horsepower engine that I got with Goose and breaking that engine down, working on it, doing some repairs, and a few upgrade things. So let's take a look at that. Morning guys, happy Saturday. This is Jason with JWClassicVW. So I've got the engine about together. Hey. All right. Take it easy. Don't forget that you're also putting fuel into the carburetor. This should be smooth. And we got fuel. So yeah, that engine run stand was pretty simple. We just took an old transmission that I picked up from the junkyard and cut it to make the little jig here that you put your starter in, and then you put it right on the back of the engine, and then you can start it on the start stand. So that's pretty cool. And the start stand was just an engine stand. I first started off with the MP, the MP 3-position engine stand, which I didn't like very much because it just didn't seem very safe. And then we upgraded to a Harbor Freight engine stand, which worked out quite a bit well with a 4-post yoke. Let me show you guys that. So after some trial and error with the 40 horsepower engine, I discovered that I actually had received the wrong camshaft for it. And instead of investing any more money into that 40 horsepower engine, which is in a box, and I'm going to be rebuilding that in 2020 just to have a spare engine, but it's in a box right now in pieces. I decided to go ahead and move forward with the investment of the 2276 big block build, which was a 5-part series that you guys can check out up here if you haven't watched any of it yet so far. It's pretty good. It goes into some really good details on the different places that I picked up parts for that big block build, budget big block build, which, you know, I did a video on what the budget actually ended up being, and it wasn't so much of a budget. It was pretty expensive when it came down to it. The biggest saver on all that cost was really the labor, you know, me doing all the work. And just like with you guys, if you do a big block build, it'll be all the labor that you save on doing that. So check out the 5-part series on the engine big block build if you're interested in learning some more information about that and some of the parts that I used. Some of the parts, AA is a big deal out there right now. Mike FN, Mike's Garage, he just did a couple builds and he uses AA parts and I use them too. I used AA rods, AA pistons, AA's merged header system, which is loud as all get out, as you guys have probably heard in some of my other videos, AA rockers. But the real money savers that I had for that build were in the Facebook groups and my local shops, where I picked up a really great scat crankshaft and a AS41 engine block that had already been shuffle pinned and clearanced for the bigger crank. So that was a great way to save some money. And you guys can look at my videos on that too, or just ask me some questions down in the comments below on this video. Yeah, the things that I picked up through the Facebook groups included like the oil cooler, my carburetors, which needed to be rebuilt, and what else did I get through the Facebook groups? Oh, my heads, my CB heads. I picked up those through the Facebook groups as well. All right, what you see here is my 044 heads, and I've been doing some cleanup work on these to get them ready for the new manifolds and for the engine build itself. But what all I do is, like, this is off my new exhaust system, and this matches up to the manifolds and to the J pipes that are on that. So you put this up onto your head itself, and then you line it up, and then I take a permanent red marker and I mark the area that I need to take out, or what I need to open up to match port that exhaust. Here are the gaskets, the intake gaskets for the heads, and they've been ported to TIM stage 1. I gotta clear up some. So after we got the big block build built, after we got that engine together, there was quite a few things that went down in the means of like tuning and running it around, and you guys went on quite a few of those journeys with me. All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of JWClassicVW. What are we doing today? We're doing some timing today. More specifically, timing on electronic ignition. Those of you that aren't familiar with electronic ignition, that is when we have electronic points. If you look inside of the distributor, if you look inside your distributor, we have electronic points inside there. And what that does, it eliminates your electronic ignition. What it does is eliminates your points. You want it to be tight enough to where you have to put a little bit on it to move it, and not so loose that it doesn't hold position once it's running. All you need is a power source, a ground source, and hook up to your number 1 cylinder with your inductive clamp. Once you've got that good to go, you can go ahead and start your engine up and then set your timing light. This timing light allows me to adjust the actual timing that I'm looking for, and I'm going for 30 degrees. So let's bump it up to 30 degrees, we'll start the engine and see where the timing is. I have a 4-star General Goose here. See, 4 stars on there. Is the actual fuel to air mix on the carburetors themselves, and I'm just gonna be looking at the mixture screws on here and adjusting that as I see fit. But first thing you want to make sure is that before you do any adjustments is that your car is up to operating temperature, that you got it warmed up. And you want to make sure you do that anytime you're tuning, doing any kind of syncing, is you want to make sure that your engine is up to operating temperature. So I'm gonna go ahead and run around with tuning the carburetors, tuning the engine itself, and then we started doing some upgrades, CB performance upgrades, right guys? We went into the MagnaSpark 2. That thing is awesome. I definitely recommend it if you are interested in a distributor. It's a good way to go. It, as advertised by CB Performance, will be the last distributor that you end up buying, which I kind of believe it. So after that, I did the CB Performance reverse manifolds, and you guys loved those videos on the reverse manifolds. A lot of you might not be using them because of just the linkage. The CB linkage is specific to those carburetors once you do the reverse or space saver manifold, because it kind of flips the linkage over to one side. And we're gonna cover more of that and what I think about it in the future video on the big review, the big end of year review, where I'm gonna talk more about all of these parts and whether or not I think it's really worth it for you guys to do the upgrade. Still up to you, you know, it's always your choice. But I love it. I love the reverse manifolds. They've worked out great so far when it comes to the mixture screws and getting in there and really dialing it in. But if you're moving into, let's say, fuel injection, you're not gonna have to worry about that. Other upgrades that we did included the oiling system. We upgraded from the just regular hose clamps and hoses to the A&N fittings and the Evil Energy oil upgrade kit that you can buy through Amazon. Links in the description below, guys, if you're interested in that stuff. I did all of the oiling system for the full flow with the Evil Energy. I also upgraded the fuel system to -6. The oil system and breather system are -8. So as you can see here, I've got a adapter on my IDF carburetors. This is an adapter made by Earls. Earls does A&M fittings. And it's an adapter where you take your standard fitting that's here on your carburetor out. These A&M fittings can be a little tricky to put on, but pretty much a lot of brute force to get them into place. Okay. So I also found that that I was able to take a lighter and kind of singe off the hose here, you know, melt it down, because this is a nylon hose. That helped with the frame quite a bit. All right, so here's the breather line coming into the valve cover. Turned out pretty good. I was kind of a little worried about the hard 90, but the way that I have it cut into the back of the tin, it actually just goes up the way it should, which is really cool. Alright guys, I'm going to give you a really good shot of everything before I put the deck lid back on so that you can see. I found that you can kind of see it on the edge here. I use a little bit of Velcro to make up the difference there. There's a little cleaning up to do here and there, but overall, it turned out really well. All right, I'm gonna get cleaned up so I can go to the little car show we have here in Kimo. We did the CB Performance IDF update kits, which turned out pretty good. The engine breather system was upgraded, which I just talked about, to the -8 A&N. It was like the last thing that I needed to do with the A&N fittings. So besides the 40 horsepower engine and all the time that we spent on the big block build with, you know, the General, right? The General. That engine is a monster. But besides all that kind of stuff that we've done and all the upgrades around the engine, we've also done quite a few other things, right? We've done some electrical troubleshooting on the lights that ended up being grounding, which grounding on Volkswagens, yeah. If you don't have it right, things aren't gonna work right, right? We also did the industrial tins. That's part of the engine, right? But the industrial tins turned out really good, and you kind of have to do industrial tins the way that I did them, modify them to go with the big merged header system. So if you guys are putting big merged, you know, 1.5/8 header systems on your engine, the Sidewinder kind, and you can't get your tins to fit right, take a look at that video. right here on doing industrial tins because it might be what you're looking for. So here's an idea of what the industrial tin does. You can see with the merged header how the pipe comes around the backside here, and I wanted to extend it so that it would cover up the whole bottom of the push rods, the push rod tubes. And now whenever the air is being forced out, it'll be channeled out right underneath the cylinders and the head area. One of the really cool upgrades that I did that really turned out great that I enjoyed, and I know that some of you guys were like, "Oh my God," when I did it, was the vintage speed fuel gauge. I love it, guys. It works out great. It's really cool. It's period correct too. I know that you guys might be like, "What do you mean period correct? They didn't have fuel gauges. You just had the reserve lever and the gallon tank, man." Well, it was an option, guys. Back in the 50s, if you wanted a fuel gauge, which I'm sure that there was, don't get me wrong, I'm not completely sexist, but I'm sure that there were some guys, husbands, that had their wives run their car out of gas a few times that said, "You know what, we can't be having this anymore." And they took the car down to the dealership and had these fuel gauges installed. So it is kind of period correct. And I hope I didn't offend anybody with that, but you know what I mean.
In his dash.
Yeah, I know. Now you want to make sure that you don't go crazy penetrating this thing because there's a good chance that you could hit something on the inside if you do. Alright guys, so there we go. That's what she looks like. Install, there's a side view. I think it's pretty awesome. Out, but for the most part, I think that we're good. The sock should stop any major things, but here we go. All right, everybody, it's the moment of truth. We have a fuel gauge. Now, I wonder if it's blinking, if that means like it's just low. Wait, with light. Oh, and a light. That looks that looks so cool, man. The next thing we did, guys, was the tunnel. Well, there's some other things in between there, but I'm sure I'm skipping some things in the big review. But the tunnel, right? Because I wanted to run new fuel lines because we discovered that with the big block engine, it was sucking so much gas that the little tiny 5mm fuel line, which probably isn't 5mm anymore, due to time and corrosion or whatever else got inside that line, just wasn't feeding the carburetors enough, right? So we're gonna go ahead and run new fuel lines through the tunnel, but to do that, we had to install an inspection window towards the front that sometimes is done to repair the clutch cable tube. So we went ahead and did that, and that was a pretty cool video, if you're interested in that. All right. So we have moved to the handy dandy no guard grinding wheel with a cutoff blade on it, and we're about to find out how well this works. Flame possibilities high. It's about to get dangerous. Try to cut into this thing. See what happens. So I gotta be honest with you, it's just a little bit scary doing this. So definitely take precautions, be safe, have a fire extinguisher nearby. I've got one right here, guys. I've got a fire extinguisher ready to go. Guys, we have a light. Let's get a camera in there and see what we see. That is so cool. So there, that's the front of the tunnel, guys. That is the coolest thing ever, to be able to see inside of the tunnel. Okay, so I've got all of the rivets in except for the last one, and I thought I would take you guys along with a ride for the last one and see, you know, maybe I can get you guys a decent angle. Here we go. So you just stick it in here, and you gotta make sure you hold pressure against it, and then you crank it down. But with this one, you gotta go in there and tighten it down. And what you're doing is you're pulling the inside against the the inside of the rivet is collapsing against the metal. And yeah, you do it till you can't do it no more, and you're gonna have to have a pretty decent grip to get it done. And that's it. That's it. It's all the way down. Loosen up the tool. And now what you got is you've got threaded inserts, which add strength and make it a lot easier for when you got to remove this panel multiple times. All right, guys, and there she is, all buttoned up and good to go. I'm gonna go ahead and throw my carpet stuff back in, but that is gonna do it for the inspection window. It turned out really well. So guys, that is gonna wrap it up for today. And I really do appreciate every single one of my new subscribers. We have come quite a ways from when I used to get excited about a subscriber showing up. We're at over 1,200 now, guys, and that's awesome. And that's all because of you and the support that you guys are providing and sharing this content with your friends and anybody else that's into Volkswagens, because that's what we do here, guys. We do Volkswagens. So if you have questions, comments, you want to talk about something else, you have suggestions for videos, hit me up in the comments below. Don't forget to leave a like. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. There's quite a few of you out there watching the show and not hitting the subscribe. And you probably watch it on your big TV, right? Well, take the time to subscribe. Subscribe, because it helps the channel, guys. And I really do appreciate it. So, I got a bench back here that needs some cleaning up to do. We're getting ready for 2020. Cleaning up the garage. Got quite a bit left going on. We're gonna finish out this year with a couple more videos. The big video that we will be going over is the big review, where all of these things that I've kind of talked about here today, we're gonna talk about what I really think about them and what, you know, if it's worth the money. So guys, what's 2020 gonna bring? 2020 is gonna bring quite a lot of stuff. We're gonna look at different brake systems over here. There's two real suppliers that I'm interested in when it comes to installing brakes. So we're gonna start off with the front brakes on Goose because we need some disc brakes. This big engine is gonna kill these drums because that's all I got right now is the stock drum brakes, which on the rear, I'm not so worried about, but I definitely wanna install disc brakes on the front. So that's a big deal. Also, the CAFR bar system, to triangulate the rear end to give you more strength, stability, and less hopping. We're gonna be doing that as well because Goose is going through the full spectrum of upgrades to make her stronger and faster for that eventual turbo. Did I say turbo? Yeah, there's gonna be a turbo engine. I don't know if it's gonna be in 2020. I think for sure we're gonna be doing the fuel injection and front suspension and maybe a few other upgrades here and there. Of course, right? It's a new year. Lots to do. Because this is a resto mod, guys. It's not a restoration. It's a resto mod. Looks stockish, but when you step on the gas pedal, it's not stockish at all. So once again, guys, that's going to wrap it up. This is Jason with JWClassicVW. I got some cleaning up to do in the garage to get ready for 2020 and to get ready for those videos coming up. See you guys on the next one. See you guys not in the new year because there's another couple videos to come. But hope you guys have a great holidays. See you guys soon. This is Jason with JWClassicVW, and I'm out.